This is our first podcast.
Yeah, this is the first time we're ever speaking like this.
Thrilled to be part of your journey, boys.
So 3 things happened all within a 2-year basis. The first one was our good old friend, the Iron Sheik, was caught doing cocaine and was fired from the WWF.
Our childhood hero.
September 2, 89, front page of the Toronto Sun, Canada to hit largest recession in history. And that's where shit hit the fan. The door was locked, and I'll never forget my mom screaming and crying, and we had no idea what was going on. We were being evicted.
So we're at this house party, our first time ever being asked to come to a house party. So at the party, people are bringing some booze, and then they say, "Hey, you guys want to order some pizza?" We open the door, and the pizza delivery man happened to be our father. So imagine you see your father with the Pizzaville visor, and you're the one giving the money to your father, not knowing that he works at Pizzaville.
One guy, 5 people back, was like, "Hey, isn't that your father?" I can't even put into words the jumble
Of emotion. This isn't just a story around entrepreneurship. This is a story around perseverance after, getting knocked and what we call ruptures, having these rupture moments. Welcome to the Witz Podcast, episode 11. We have 2 of the most amazing guests today, Gian and Paige Megan, the 2 creative geniuses behind the Megan Boys, and now run this massive group of companies, which you guys put on over about 1,000 events per year. The brothers also donate a considerable amount of their time, resources, and entertainment services to a multitude of local and international causes. This is going to be an episode about entrepreneurship, partnership, but I think this is really an episode around inspiration. Welcome to the show. All right. Awesome to have you guys. As you know, this is a show about humans making better humans. We want to get as much as we can from you guys. So what we want to start with is your story. Tell us your story.
All right. So, born here in Toronto, our parents had immigrated from Iran. They fled the Iranian Revolution just by a hair there, and managed to get a lot of their resources out of the country. Mind you, they also left a ton behind. And when I mean a ton, I'm talking plazas of real estate and homes. Our family came from a long line of entrepreneurs. Our grandfather was the first man to bring aspirin and Tylenol into the country, and had different businesses, and they were merchants. And so we grew up here, and we kind of had a unique upbringing where our parents from age 0 to age 5 spoke to us in Farsi. And so we were your very, very typical immigrant kids. Our mother dressed as funny, would wear like wool sweaters in the middle of summer. Mm-hmm. And I have
turtlenecks in the summer and in winter.
Yeah.
And I have this very distinct kind of visualization when we were kids in elementary school. Most Canadian kids would have like a granola bar and a turkey sandwich, a juice
peanut butter jelly,
a juice box,
in a lunchbox.
Right. And we'd open up our lunchbox, or it might have been like a garbage bag or something completely unconventional, and like a bird would fly out, okay, and there'd be like rice everywhere.
It was like a fact, like our lunchboxes or our bags stunk up a whole classroom.
Yeah, you were the 2 weird immigrant kids with this weird food. Right,
yeah.
That must have been stressful in some regards.
Definitely, it had its toll on us socially. It was very awkward. Yeah. But we spoke Farsi for the first 5 years, and then when we went to school, our first 3-4 years of school, we went to French immersion. So we go from speaking only Iranian, now we're speaking French all day. Mm-hmm. Okay, our English was kind of rough. So when we grew up and we were now in grade 4, 5, and 6, we went to another school where it was all English. We were like an ETL student. You know what ESL is? Mm-hmm. Well, we created ETL.
What's ETL?
English as a third language.
Wow.
So
let's just recap. So both of you are born in Toronto, right? Your mom only communicates and speaks to you in Farsi for the first 5 years of your life, right? Then you're now projected into this French immersion school, never speaking French and never speaking English.
Barely speaking English.
Barely speaking English, maybe mumbled English,
Yes.
right? And then for the next 3 years, you're all in French, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And then English came afterwards.
Correct.
Well, and if you add to that, we were ADD.
Yeah.
So learning wasn't easy for us.
Yeah.
Stepping into grade 4, early in grade 4, in a normalized environment, they identified that we were special ed, and then I think we were one of the first kids in Canada to be on Ritalin.
Yeah.
So we had to start taking medication in order to be conforming into the normal environment of school.
It was, you see Bart Simpson writing on the chalkboard. My mom and dad would make us do something similar on pieces of paper, like every day when we came home from school. I will be a good boy. Like I wrote it like
I must slow down. I must calm down.
Hundreds of times.
100 times a day.
Wow.
Like pages of that. I must slow down. I must calm down. It was what we would write in grade 4 every day we came home from school.
That must have left an emotional marker on both of you.
Well, at the time we didn't know it was normal or not. We didn't know what normal was. I remember being uncomfortable about hiding the pill. We'd have a tin foil for the pill.
Yeah.
And I'd throw it into my bag, and I didn't want anyone ever seeing the tin foil, so I'd find a way to like swallow it and like make sure that no one saw it, because I felt like they were, at one point someone said they were called like hyper pills, and for some reason we were embarrassed about that. Am I right?
yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what they ADHD, right? They were called hyper pills. My mom wanted to get me on Ritalin as well, and I just refused. But I wonder if I actually ended up taking it back then, because I'm also ADD, if it would have helped me in school, because I failed academically, unless I was very much interested in the topic or the subject, and I had a good connection or relationship with the teacher. Those two things were in place, I excelled. But without that, I had a very difficult time absorbing information and also then studying, which was a big issue for me.
Oh, it was horrendous. We were not good in school, had a hard time concentrating. But what made things worse was you get this whole Iranian side of things growing up in the 1980s. It's a very hot topic, as it is unfortunately today. But with the Iran-Contra crisis and, the U.S. hostages situation, it was embarrassing to be Iranian and to have Iranian names and for people to know that we were Iranian. And so
We got made fun of a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, were you bullied?
we were bullied.
Tied to the tree, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
we were actually tied to a tree once, and we were called names and called terrorists and called.
Terrorist was easy name.
We were an easy target for being teased. Take the lunch, take the clothing,
The pills.
take the pills, take the way the accents, the way we interacted and spoke to people. But also, at the time, school didn't really have, probably today it's a lot more defined, but there was two types of classes. There was the regular class and there was a special needs class.
Yeah, I was in the special. It was called special ed.
Special ed, yeah.
Yes.
We were.
Can you imagine if they called it special ed today?
It would probably
They'd be lynched.
Yes. So we were in the special education class
for
half the day, but it was like myself, my brother, kids in wheelchairs or who were handicapped.
The girl with the hearing aid.
Yeah.
And
the guy with the kid with one arm.
Yeah.
Us and like someone else that was, I don't want to say
high level special needs.
Yeah.
So for us, that was very, very, hard on us and socially, and just, we really started to feel the heat of embarrassment and
feeling like cool or not cool, popularity and the energy of.
How old are you guys at this point?
we're like 10 years old.
Yeah. So
It's
at
mattering.
10, you're old enough that social acceptance is important.
And we remember, Mom, can you buy us a granola bar?
Yeah.
Can you buy us a fruit roll up? We begged for fruit roll ups.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, we just wanted to find a way to be in the mix.
Yeah, my lunch was the thing that I wanted from moving from South Africa, because also similar. But I moved here when I was 10 and didn't have a bird fly out of my my lunchbox. But I think I didn't know I had to bring lunch. I think was the first one. So all these other kids are eating and stuff like that. And then I see kids eating Joe Louis. So for me, I begged my mom. I was like, you got to put a Joe Louis in my lunch, right?
Oh my God.
Remember those?
Oh, for
those
sure.
Half Moons and Joe Louis.
That's success.
That was success. You're like the other kids now. You're like, look, I'm sort of conforming or I'm being accepted. I'm like them, right?
You made it, man.
I made it. I'll tell you my story about shoes in a second. But go on.
So all this while, though, there was one little saving grace for us, and it started a few years prior. We may have been 4 or 5 years old, and we were playing in front of the TV.
We grew up in front of the TV, right?
Most kids in the 80s did.
Yeah.
Right? 80s, 90s, that's what we did. Our parents stuck us in front of the TV.
Yeah. So my mom was cooking, and we had a babysitter who was just watching TV. We weren't even paying attention to what she was watching.
Laundry or something.
Yeah, she was folding clothes, and we were just playing with cars. Luckily we had each other at all times, right? So we never were in a situation where we had no one to play with, because if it was one of us, we would probably have no one to play with, because we were those kids that had very few friends growing up at that point in our lives.
Oh, and add to that, our mother was extremely protective.
Yeah.
So we would not be allowed to sleep out at anyone's house. It was always our house. She would be a hawk on us. Overprotective is the most minimal way to describe our mother and father.
So anyways, something was happening on the TV which we weren't paying attention in, but my mom had come from the other room, the kitchen, holding a pot in her hand, and she started screaming, "Who's saying all those bad words in Farsi? Who's saying all those bad words in Iranian?" And she runs, and we're like, "Huh? What? Whatever." And she dropped the pot, and it made this huge sound. And she screamed, "Oh my God, that's your dad's friend. That's your daddy's best friend." And we're like, we didn't understand, because what do you mean? It's not like today where anyone could have a TV show or a podcast or a YouTube channel. This was something you didn't see people on TV.
TV was powerful.
Huge.
Right?
It was the only form of mass media. I mean, if it was back to, if you were on TV, you made it. You were famous.
So lo and behold, the man on TV saying all these bad words was none other than professional wrestler, the Iron Sheik. And for us, it was just more about that we knew someone who was on TV. It wasn't a matter of what he was, because we didn't even know what it was. But this man spitting out all this diatribe in Farsi was the most hated man in North America. He was the man who created the anti-hero to Hulk Hogan's hero. And all we knew was that my mom was now on the phone calling my dad, and something about after all these years, they had, they were reconnecting. And so the story was that our father is the Iranian Olympic ping pong champion. And he grew up in athletics as the best friend with the wrestling champion, who was the Iron Sheik, Khosrow Vaziri. And they were best friends growing up. And in their own ways, they split up, and they both had to leave the country for whatever their own reasons were. And there was no Yellow Pages. There was no Facebook. There was nothing to find each other back then except for sheer coincidence or,
keeping a little black book.
Yeah.
Phone numbers.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, my dad is on the phone, and he somehow figures out that there's going to be a card at the Maple Leaf Gardens, and the Sheik was going to be on the card. So we went with him, not realizing that this was probably going to change our lives forever. And we go to the show, and we go through this back entrance, and they end up hugging and kissing. And it was I'll never forget, as a little kid, here's this larger than life hero who's just right there in front of us, the same guy we saw on TV. And so now for the next 6 years, every 3 or 4 months, when the WWF would come to Toronto, my dad would go and pick up all the bad guy wrestlers, and we would take them to the shows. And we would go holding these wrestlers' hands through the back into the dressing rooms of the Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh. But we were about 10 years old at this point.
No, we're 6 years old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10 years old.
For years, every
twice a year, 3 times a year. And it was what we studied for. And it was what we did good chores for. It was it
was our dangle.
It was the one thing that we did.
If you don't do this, you're not coming to the show. And so you can imagine at the time, wrestling was the hottest thing.
Absolutely.
Right? It was everyone's identity.
It's one of my first memories of moving to Canada was Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. I have that, those two characters from WWF as a very early memory being in Canada for me.
So imagine having this life where you didn't really get anything that you wanted, yet your parents not putting necessarily a major tangible value on the fact, on the small things that matter to you, the fruit roll-ups and the granola bars and the cool Roots sweatpants that we would never be able to buy.
And by the way, like at this point in your life, your parents can financially afford the Roots and the fruit roll-ups and stuff. I mean, they were quite
everything was comfortable.
financially well off or successful.
Yeah, there was not a big struggle. It was, we had Nintendo and we had we
Atari.
We played. We had
an allowance.
Yeah,
$5.
Yeah.
To share.
But it wasn't like, we didn't know any better to be demanding for all these material items. But what we did want was that wrestling.
Yeah.
The wrestling dolls, the wrestling bed sheets, the wrestling pajamas. And we literally would do whatever we could do to stay up late and watch Saturday night's main event, because this is now our first interaction with the entertainment business. And we're now, going to the shows, sitting on Andre the Giant's slab, holding the Macho Man's hands, going into the arena. Okay. On the flip side, getting yelled at for cheering for the Iron Sheik, or when we're walking him out of the arena, people throwing sodas and garbage and swearing at us.
Yeah. But what's really fucked up about that is, as young kids, 6, 7, 8 years old, also walking out the Iron Sheik, having to be exposed to the hatred and the attack and the throwing of the sodas and stuff like that. That's imprinting.
Well, I remember it clearly. There was one time, Nikolai Volkov used to sing the Russian anthem.
Yes.
But one time it was just the Iron Sheik there, and the Iron Sheik told the announcer that he'd like everyone to rise in the singing of the Iranian national anthem. And my dad goes, "Get up." Everyone got up, and we were so proud. But 20,000 other people were throwing shit in the ring, yelling and booing, and we were like, kind of the first impression of being embarrassed about this. We were like, is everyone against us? Like, are we not?
But just understand, like, we were like up and proud of it, because this was like,
this is all you knew. This is your dad, your people, your culture.
This is my dad's best friend.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that outside of the ring, back at the after party, at our parents' house, where my mom would cook and prep for weeks on end, because it wasn't just like the wrestlers who came over. This was all of their friends. They created a social life with all this.
Yeah.
So what would happen is, after the shows, the Sheik, Volkov, and a myriad of a few other wrestlers every time, Junkyard Dog, Big John Studd, Greg Valentine, all these wrestlers would come to our house for dinner after the show. And my mom would literally cook 3 tables full of the craziest Persian food. Buffet.
Yeah.
She killed a raccoon once and sauteed it.
So
I said it was chicken.
When it started to matter was when we went to the English school.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't really communicate much about this stuff, because people wouldn't really resonate with
So
them.
let me just ask you, where's your English at this point? Farsi, French, okay, the Iron Sheik you communicate in Farsi with, but where's your English sitting at 6, 7, 8 years old with all these other wrestlers?
Let's call that grade 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Our English is minimal.
Yeah.
It's
fine.
It's 50% Persian, 30-40% French, and 10% English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we understood it. There were still cartoons and stuff.
Yeah,
but
in retrospect, I would lean on TV.
yes,
Yeah.
TV is what taught us how to speak English.
Most immigrants that I've ever spoken to in my life, one of the most common things I've heard from all of them was it was TV that taught me English. Later on in life, I watched The Simpsons, right? And back then I watched Sesame Street or Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, and
Sesame Street, Muppets,
Sesame, Easy, Muppets for sure.
Fraggle Rock,
that
kind of stuff really got us propelled into having some
Pee-wee's
sort of
Playhouse.
English literacy. So what would happen then? Now, as we're in grade 4 and grade 5, and we're now in the lunchroom where all the kids would be congregated. And there'd be little cliques and packs of the kids all sitting together in some sort of capacity. Yeah. But in the corner was the 2 brothers by themselves.
Yeah.
And people would kind of walk by, make comments.
They see who's sitting over there. And they walk over us or by us.
Walk by, totally disregard us. Walk by, call us losers. And so it was tough, because we always wanted a piece of some of that, excitement and some of that inclusiveness.
Normal.
And there was nowhere to be seen. And it was a while that anywhere could even come close to us getting some sort of fitting in. But what we would do is we would pull out our dolls after lunch, after the bird flew out of our lunch. and we'd play with the dolls. And then that started getting some people's attentions.
Well, the main attention from that was when we brought our picture of the Iron Sheik and us at our house.
Cool.
And again, we have a huge celebrity picture collection. I'm sure you've seen
Yeah.
over the years. And so at that age, we're like, we would tell people, we know the Iron Sheik. He's our dad's best friend. This and that. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
it
right.
sounds
Yeah,
like a
right.
lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And then
sure,
all of a sudden
buddy.
you showed up with a picture.
But wha-bam!
What a defining moment for you guys.
Well, now this is the first time I'm even thinking about this, to be honest with you. So, but now looking back about how important it is, picture or prove it.
Yeah.
I got more stories than anyone I know. I've been in more situations than I think most people have ever dreamed to be in.
Yeah.
But they all sound fictional until you pull out the picture.
If I didn't know you two for as long as I've known you, I would think 50% of the stuff you talk about is BS. But
It's
you know
tough.
what? Like, that is a very true line. You two fuckers have literally seen it and been in it all. Like, I don't know if there's a situation or a person that we could say, hey, have you ever met this person or have you ever done this, that you two wouldn't say no?
You know what? When you have no choice,
For sure.
we had to try and be and do. And looking back at this early seed here, it helps pave this path of what we needed to do to prove ourselves. I mean, we were always trying to prove ourselves because I would say our parents gave us everything, but they also gave us nothing.
Yeah. I want to ask a quick question, and we can circle back to this later, and I just want to sort of interject in the story. But being twins and brothers, how do you think you would have survived, in quotations, this experience if you didn't have each other?
I don't think it would have been possible. I don't think we would have been able to penetrate and grow and thrive off of the setbacks and the bullying and the teasing.
Yeah, because at least you had each other in that capacity. I mean, being bullied in isolation is extremely
Lonely.
lonely.
That net, like that's a safety net, having someone else to take half of the bruises or take half of the punches,
or empathize and go, I know
empathize.
what you're going through. I and support each other, which is not just through empathy because you're experiencing it both. It's a real mind fuck in some capacity.
Well, if this is a true thing that I was thinking about recently, because my son was playing basketball with the big boys in a court in Florida. And he was so cute. He was just this 5 years old. All these guys, they're only letting him play because it's just they were just being nice. And he's just like running around. Like he doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just like running, and they're running, so he's running. And I'm just like, oh my god! But it made me remember where, literally without fail, from the beginning of school, from grade 1 till probably grade 7 or 8.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
In every situation, without fail, if there was 2 captains, Greg and James, okay, and everyone just picked, they picked, on repeat, the last 2 to get picked every single time. It was like, okay, so then you get Jean, you get Paige. It didn't even matter who got who. Yeah. But to be able to count down every single time that we were not going to get picked, like towards the end, it got repetitive, but like it was just the hope and the prayer that maybe I'd get picked, not like second last, third last.
It actually became competitive to us that I beat you.
Yeah.
It only, and this is funny because this is where we got split up in school. It became a thing for the 2 of us to be competing against each other because we really didn't have the opportunity to compete with everyone else. I remember in grade 4 at this new school, they ended up splitting us up in grade 5. Why? Because we would be very competitive with each other because we wanted to prove ourselves. So I remember being in a classroom and we had to do a test. And the reason why they split us up was because at the test, we would be racing each other to see who's
Watching each other.
who's done first. And I remember when I was done the test, I stood up and said, "Finished!" And I'd be like, fucking beat you to my brother. Like, and they said, I remember clearly they said to our mother and father that it's our recommendation that they split up because they're highly competitive with each other.
Yeah.
But again, when you're twins and everything's equal, remember when the word equal is defined by us because our mother would buy 1 can of Coke and we'd have to split
She'd measure it.
She'd measure the Coke.
About 1 ounce.
Not one drip.
Yeah.
And she was dividing any type
Pizza.
of, even the rice. She would count the grains.
Yeah, but look at you guys today. Like, I mean, you guys are by definition the 50-50 partnership.
Yeah.
In all aspects. Like, most partnerships don't exist like yours. I do a lot of work, obviously, in the corporate world, and particularly when it comes down to partners. And, you know, the biggest complaint I hear when it comes down to these relationships is the unequalness or the lack of fairness, call it, that one partner feels versus the other. And maybe in some regards, if you think about what's happened to us in our life, like your mom making sure that everything was divided 50-50 has created a balance in how you operate later on in life with each other.
100%, you know, because even till today, like it's just one of those like facts. Like, you know, I've been carrying the business right lopsidedly for so long.
He's been riding on your coattails forever, right?
Funny, just because I make it look easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Yeah.
But the truth of that is that we have actually two different sets of skills.
Yeah.
You know, what he does, I cannot do.
Yeah.
And I can be the first one to admit that.
Okay. So I want to come back to that, but let's just go back to the story. So you're 10 years old.
So now it's just such it's a really funny parallel where we're going to go with this. So we're 8, 9 years old, 10 years old.
Popularity, we've leveraged this.
Yes. So let's call it 9 years old.
Okay.
9 years old. 10 years.
They're seeing you in the cafeteria. You're playing with the dolls. You got the picture.
Yeah. So it's just this whole speed track towards just like social resiliency, you know, confidence,
And rebelling,
anxiety, the whole thing, you know, learning disabilities, struggle. Like, you know, these are things that were painful, but just, you have no choice. You have to truck along. But this is all an anti kind of coding for what's about to happen, which was our first real big storm. And that's what happened in our lives with our family and their business. So 3 things happened all within a two-year basis. The first one was our good old friend, the Iron Sheik, front page of the Toronto Sun, was caught doing cocaine.
Oh my goodness.
And was fired from the WWF.
Our childhood hero.
We don't know what cocaine is.
Yeah.
We just see
marijuana. We're like, what does this mean?
We see jail. We see arrested. Yeah. But all of that meant nothing. What meant the most was that he was traveling with his villain, the guy that he would be wrestling with later that day, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Who was the good guy.
Yeah.
So for us, it didn't matter the drugs. It was like, Dad, Mom, why are they traveling together?
The good guy and the bad guy.
Oh, wow. So that's what you guys be like. So front page of the Toronto Star, this dude's busted for coke and weed. You have no idea what weed and coke and weed is, right? Until much later on in life. And then all of a sudden, you now be lying to why is the heel traveling with Babyface?
And it was...
And it's not just us.
Yeah.
The whole world. This was the first
public
announcement of what's happening behind the curtain. Wrestling was now being exposed as being this staged thing.
The first time in the history of professional wrestling where a good guy and a bad guy were caught doing anything together.
Yeah.
And which happened to be the worst thing ever, which was drugs at the time. Don't say no to drugs.
Yeah. Who was the president? Vince Reagan?
Ronald Reagan. Exactly.
Ronald Reagan, right? War on drugs. Like, this is the time that we're in. Yeah.
Right there. So, happened to be with the guy that we looked up to as our childhood hero. Our childhood hero was the person that got busted for drugs and dropped the curtain in the history of professional wrestling.
So this was traumatic for us, right?
Sure.
This was such a moment that we just couldn't comprehend. And, you know, it was like, well, some kids go through divorce, some kids go through a loss. Like, this to us was like this like mind-blowing experience. And so our parents were like, you know, they didn't realize that they were more protecting us about the drugs part, not the... They knew it was fixed.
Yeah.
Well, and our mom like viciously cut it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed. Don't watch it. You're not allowed to see
cut
this
off.
stuff. Yeah,
Completely cut off with wrestling, and we had to we take a back seat for a bit. So in and around that same time, our parents decided to make some business moves in their own right. And the first was they had taken probably half of their net worth and put it into 3 down payments on a penthouse on a condominium development called Palace Pier, which is down on the water in Toronto.
Lakeshore.
Which was like the first of its kind, a premier condominium. And there was 3 penthouses for the 3 of us from when we were older.
Still a premier building today.
Yes. So they did that. And then within a few months later, about a year later or whatnot, they then taken the rest of their money and they went all in and opened up a carpet store. And this carpet store was in Mississauga.
Persian rugs.
Persian rugs and flooring, carpet, like the whole thing. And they had like a 30,000 square foot showroom, stacked with inventory and racks and the carts that picked the carpet off the racks, and they had full-time.
A lot of money investment. Like
tons of money.
You bought all the inventory up front. You bought all the machinery. You hired the staff. You put the deposit down. Your parents did. Did they buy the building or rent it?
They rented
the building. They rented the building. They took a bunch of money. They threw it into real estate, which technically should be a no-brainer because that's how we build wealth, is through land. But it was pre-development.
Yep.
Right. So
all the stuff's happening, and let's call it September 1, 89, or September 1, something like that. September 2, 89. Front page of the Toronto Sun. Canada to hit largest recession in history, and literally within a flick of the switch, the mortgage rates went up to like 25, 26, 27%. So that means people who were paying 4 or 5% are now paying 5 times what they were paying before. Okay. And that got affected to the entire country. And they opened up a business that they were hoping that was going to be a big, big hit for them at that same moment. And that's where shit hit the fan and things got real bad, real fast.
They over leveraged in probably the worst time.
So yeah,
ever.
So it was completely devastating. Long story short.
So what happened?
So first the real estate.
Yeah.
It was considered. This is the word that they've used to describe it. The biggest abortion in Canadian real estate history. To point, the Palace Pier development. Something happened. There was a
prolonged. Couldn't carry it for 5 years.
And anyone who bought into that first round lost their deposits.
So $1 million gone.
Pretty much.
And our parents at the time were like, "We'll pay for it up front. We'll be up front." They want to,
because that's also sort of the mindset back then, which is you pay for everything in cash. This is a little bit before sort of the onslaught of credit cards, like the way we live in today. Yes. So people manage money differently. And I can just picture it. Your parents going in almost and saying, here's the money. Look how excited we are. We've made the right decision.
Yep.
Let's not be foolish and just rely on this. Let's start a business that's going to generate money. Yep. And then bam. What happened next?
So then
quickly
they would spend, all their time and effort into this carpet store. And so we had to go with them for the ride every weekend because we couldn't really afford a babysitter anymore. There wasn't time for that. Yeah. So we would go with them to work every single weekend.
What happened to your house?
I was just going to say.
Yeah. So we're not there yet.
Okay.
So what happened was that we'd go to work with them and we would watch them, fight and argue, and we'd watch them try and land a customer.
Your turn, my turn. Your turn, my turn.
And we would just, all we cared to do was like at least go there and play tag in the carpet racks and
jump on the underpadding with like all this soft spongy.
Put on little wrestling shows for each
jump
other.
On the top of the thing onto like a world elbow drop.
So this is where you're starting to just dabble in your own wrestling career.
And so really it was boring as shit. It was like the worst thing ever. Yeah. But
we remember our parents would let us buy a burger a couple doors down. And we would split.
You would share it.
We would share the burger, right?
50-50.
But one day, and we would always walk this way to that burger store. But one day we walked this way to see what was going on. It was a large plaza with lots of other stores, and in that plaza was a flea market. Mm-hmm. And we're like, "What's this flea market?" My parents were like, "Don't go in there. We'll come with you. Don't." We didn't even allow us to like walk more than a step without our parents hawking on us. And we went to this flea market, and there was a couple of guys that had these baseball card tables where they would buy and sell baseball cards.
This is Dr. Fleece.
Dr. Fleece.
Yeah, so for people that live in Canada or Toronto, a famous place, it's a little bit of a landmark sort of or a cultural piece, is Dr. Fleece, which is one of the crappiest, shittiest little things you've ever been to, but as you walk in there, there's all these crazy vendors. I'll tell you this, I'll share this. So I used to smoke, right? Cigarettes. Obviously, when e-cigarettes came out, the first place you could buy them was at Dr. Fleece. And we would bolt over there and you would pick up the e-cigs. And you couldn't buy nicotine juice from them because it was still illegal. So there was a dude that would stand there and you would go out to the parking lot with him and he'd open his trunk and he had nicotine e-juice. That was my first experience with Dr. Fleece.
Yeah, so that's unbelievable, right? That there's like this like old school market mentality, people selling stereos, people selling insurance, people selling dried fruits, like, and then there was people selling sports cards. And for us, we enjoyed sports, and there was cards and players that we had recognized, whether it's Wayne Gretzky or Michael Jordan, and we understood, the cards, but we never really paid attention to the money aspect,
the economics of it.
And so that first time we were there, when we were driving home from Mississauga, which felt like an hour away back then, we said to each other, I'm like, where have we seen these cards before? Like, they weren't like, it wasn't like the first time I had seen a Gretzky rookie.
We're 11 or 12 at this time.
Yeah, and so we go home and we're like, let's just go in the basement and start, looking for some stuff, right? And we basically tore apart the basement, and as if like there was like music, this angelic music coming on, and I put my hand deep into this pile of junk. And I pull out this like plastic bag, and in that bag,
Garbage bag.
it was multiple Gretzky rookies, Mark Messier rookies, Ray Bourque rookies,
Patrick Roy, Mario Lemieux, Steve Yzerman.
all these guys that like were like, we saw that in the store. It was like $100, $60,
$35,
$30, which is a lot of money
For
back
these
then.
for these
Cards.
cards,
For
right?
these
These collector cards.
So the next week, we go to that store. We're ready to go. We're now entering the business world, and we started to like, trade those cards. We started to sell those cards. We used to sell them and buy boxes of other cards and move up and collect packs.
So this is your real first experience at what I would define you two as being hustlers, right? Which
Totally.
is at 11 years old.
Correct.
You're at the flea market, hustling baseball cards, hockey cards, and not just selling them to take the money and then go do whatever you want, but actually thinking about it from a business standpoint, which is you're going to sell this card, you're going to buy that one, you're going to trade this one. You started to build a little bit of a business model there.
Real currency. Like, it was a real, baseball and hockey cards were a real currency.
But let me ask you, like, do you have thought in the reason you did that? Because most 11-year-olds would go sell it, take all that money, and either put it in the piggy bank or do it. But you guys didn't just sell it all and then take the money and then go buy hamburgers, one hamburger each. You actually said, wait a minute, we're going to buy some, we're going to sell some, we're going to trade some, we're going to keep this going in some capacity. It's not going to be a one-time exercise.
So I think because of how our mom and dad used to talk so highly about their parents and the entrepreneurship and the business acumen that they had, we felt compelled to live that business life. And then there's a couple other blends of ingredients that added to that. So we wanted to make money. We were hooked on it because our parents weren't really giving us much, or at least much compared to what we were seeing out in school. On top of that, we didn't buy candy. We didn't have the money for granola bars. We didn't have the cool root sweatpants. So when we had our own money, we said, well, wait, I can go to the candy store and buy 3 sour keys. I could buy these sour keys. I can buy the Joe Louis right now.
Yeah.
Well, like, think about how motivating you are when you have the ability to make your own decisions. So because of that, we weren't emotional about the card. We were emotional about the ability of getting the right card so we can turn it into a currency.
That's what I mean. Like, you were thinking about like everything from an investment and a business standpoint. What the decision we make today, how does this pay us double tomorrow?
Well, and then when you
At
collectively,
11 years old, you understand how fucked up that is. Like, this is a huge compliment to both of you, which is whether through trial or tribulation and stress and experience that you've gone through life, where your parents came from, the fact that at a very young age, you were thinking by definition entrepreneurially. We talk about everyone wants to be an entrepreneur today. Everyone's got this fascination for being for being an entrepreneur, but not many people can actually do it. And here's a story between you two guys that without any schooling, with just some right calls, right decision, right motivation.
Bad calls.
Of course, bad calls. And I think part of this is also maybe the stress and I don't want to use the word trauma, but the trauma that you went through. There's a missing piece to your story, which you told me yesterday about, which is what happened to your house.
So,
did that happen before the baseball cards or after?
Baseball cards are happening.
Okay.
And we're now excited to go every week to work now with our parents.
We found a way to tell our parents, we'll do some work in the back. We'll clean the toilet. We'll paint. We'll shuffle the underpad.
We'll measure. Mm-hmm. We'll measure the carpet as it needs to go out.
Just give us money. Just give us something for us to do it. Because what we would do with that money is we take it and then go to the card store, buy more cards, open those packs, and then try to play the flip game on it.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, the recession had just hit way too hard, and within a few years of the opening of what is known as Bijan Carpet, they had to close. They had to close the business.
They went bankrupt.
And they had over leveraged, as you said. The credit cards were maxed out. The rent wasn't paid in months, and the business got locked out. And within a few months of that, the home struggles were compounding, and we had all come home from some sort of school fair or something like that.
It was like 9:30 at night or 8.
And the door was locked, and there was a piece of paper on the door with an envelope. They opened it up, and I'll never forget my mom screaming and crying, and we had no idea what was going on, but basically we were being warned that we had 30 days to get out of the house.
You were not warned, you were evicted.
Yeah. We were being evicted. And this was a huge blow for us. This I could feel. I could also feel my mom's pain, who did her best to protect us from some of the...
Or hide it from us.
Hide it. But hide it in a very blatant way, even though it was obvious that there was some real big turmoil in the house. We inhaled a lot of that metaphorical secondhand smoke, of defeat and loss, struggle, and we had our own ways of hiding it.
Well, we had each other. We had, let's play video games, or let's go together. Let's peel off. We had the ability to even do some survival tactics with these cards to kind of to block the pain. Because it was maybe half of the pain. We shared the pain.
And we would also get support from our mom and dad, but our mom was integral in just keeping us, kids still, and taking us to baseball or taking us to the local community center that had a card show for us to go in and do some more of this business. And she did her best for us, and she did it with a full heart. And I can honestly say that we've had some ups and downs as brothers and partners in life, and in the end, I'm not sure too many people can say that they've stuck through it, just because of the natural environment that comes with being a partner with your brother. In the end, no matter how far one way or the other we're going, there's this foundation of there's no other choice, because our mom and dad raised us with. We're so blessed that in this all, my mom technically should have divorced my dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but divorce didn't happen back then.
Right. It was taboo.
But, and also coming from a Persian family, divorce is viewed very differently in North America than it is in parts of the other in other parts of the world.
But
right?
it was the family. Right. It was the family.
Yeah.
She cared about us first, and she figured that if we were going to be they were going to get divorced, it was she cared more about
how we felt,
how we were, and not about what it is living through this whole crisis that was caused technically by some very poor business decisions my father made. That's what's happening.
How old are you at this point?
So we're now 15, 14, 15.
All right.
And so now we move in from a beautiful mansion into
not a nice size house.
A beautiful house. A very comfortable 4,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Big fucking house, 4,000 square feet.
Okay. So we move into a big house. out of the big house into an apartment.
Baby
Now-
and steals.
Now everything's stretched, right? If we were getting $5 a week allowance, $10 a week allowance, we were getting zero.
But we started then adding some layers of work to us.
Yeah, so
Paper routes.
Yeah, so I ended up getting a job. I was the Toronto Sun delivery boy, and I'm talking like I would wake up at 4 a.m. because that's when you had to
At
do
15 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my dad would take me on the route. So we would, because not everyone got the Sun. So we know that there was 50 houses on one area and 40 on the other. And he dropped me off at the corner with a little basket, and I would go and I'd drop it off in their things. And I was responsible for dropping off, putting the flyers in there, and the actual newspaper. The same thing you see the guy today who's in his mid 30s, 40s, or 50s doing it. That was me doing it.
And I would do the flyer inserts as another job. Similar, different times, but like I would do like Tuesdays, Wednesdays after school. You would do Saturday, Sundays, and we'd switch. And then we started again leveraging us, where you do mine, I'll do yours. Or sometimes we didn't do either. We just threw them down the hill.
Yeah.
Like whatever we had to do to get paid. And while that was happening, other kids around us were having better lives and better fun and were enjoying what they were doing. And so that's where the rebellious kindness, the rebelling started kicking in, where we were these twins that were starting to make a lot of noise.
So it's Friday nights, and everyone would go to the movie theater or the hamburger place or whatever, and my mom would drop us off, and where other kids were getting a 20 to go out for the night, she'd give us 25 cents each. Okay,
Jeez.
and this isn't in the era where 25 cents got you into anything or did anything for you. It was like 25 cents was used for only one thing.
So kids are going out with $20 and your mom's giving you 25 cents each.
Yeah, so my mom would give us 25 cents each, and we'd be like, what the fuck do you want us to do with 25 cents? And she'd say, you call me at 10, you call me at 11, and let me know that you're okay.
So it was
It's
no cell phones back then, right?
no cell phones. It was straight up just a quarter, and every kid has money for dinner in the food court and for a movie ticket, and we had none of that. Okay, and so what would happen is it would be like, the two of us would go to the movies with let's say you and Jamie and Mikey, right? And we'd say, all right, Greg, I need you to go inside and go get Jamie's ticket and bring it out to us. Okay. So then you'd give me that ticket. You'd go back inside and I would go with you. Then I'd come back in and I'd grab Mikey's ticket and I would go back inside and bring it to Paige. Okay. So now we're all in the movies. But then what I would do is I'd see, Marnie and Jennifer, and Mikey didn't care for his ticket. You didn't care for his ticket. And I'd say, hey, Jennifer, Marnie, can I have your ticket? I don't need it anymore. No problem. So I'd have 5 tickets in my hands. I'd go outside. I'd go to the person working the movie theater box and say, my friends didn't show up or they had to leave or something.
Yeah.
Can I get these tickets refunded? Next thing you know, I'm up $30 because I refunded those tickets. And now I'm walking into the theater. I bought popcorn and sodas for everybody. And I was still up $20. So
Well, that was the key, is that we made money.
Yeah.
And then we would buy the things that we would never buy. My parents would never buy popcorn for us. We'd
I
never
gotta
buy
tell you,
popcorn.
I'm having moments because obviously knowing you guys for as many years as I have, you're answering a lot of questions for me and how you guys did what you did over the years. I mean, that's amazing, man. You I don't want to say scam the system, but from a very innovative and one from survival, there was nothing to lose.
Right.
So whether you didn't get in the movie, if you didn't get in the movie, well, you're in the same position that you were before. So, thought around that, no risk, no reward. But then the intuitiveness and the entrepreneurship to say, wait a minute, let's take this and go get the 5 movie tickets and then go, and also the sort of the charitable, warm, caring said, hey, let me bring candy and popcorn back for everyone.
Well, that was the
That's
give
cool.
back.
That was the give back.
So we knew that we would always try to find ways to make money, but then we'd want to share the good feelings with people.
Yeah.
And so within a month of doing this every weekend,
Yeah.
it started to become very easy for us to understand the mechanics of getting into these movies. And what we started to do is we started to look for other entry points into the theater. And within a few months, we were getting kids in troves of 20 and 30, and we would have them pay us just to save $2, and we would sneak them in through the back alley of the movie theater. Okay,
But
and
now we have a community of people that are like, oh my God, Paige and Gian, those guys are so crazy. Those guys are so cool. Are you going to the movies tonight? I know Paige and Gian are. Let's see if we'll go with them.
And so this is also like your entryway into popularity. This is like you're finally being accepted by
definitely
the North American kids.
Masses are asking what we're doing tonight.
People were asking us what we're doing. People were trying to understand if they could get in on this, even though they were kids that came from well-off families.
Sort of VIP club list before there was clubs.
But they were all well off, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
A lot of these kids had the 20 and they could have afforded, but they just wanted to get in because of the rush.
Yeah.
And then we started to look at everything else we could find our way in and out of.
Let me jump in on that. So we actually started getting this reputation that we were these fun and out there guys that did these kind of wild and crazy things. And then I remember one of our friends was having a party. This is where the party kicks in. And they said, you guys tell who you think should come to the party. Our parents are out of town. Remember those? My parents are out of town parties?
Yeah.
Well, we were the ones that were told to come and bring people to the party. And so we kind of had some pride where we kind of said, okay, no, get those guys to come. Those guys are cool. Let them come. Because we knew lots of different circles. And so this is where the next level of devastation kicked in. So we're at this house party, our first time ever being asked to come to a house party. Imagine you're so excited, you're going to prom. We're asked to go to a house party. And we're also asked to bring people with us. Okay, so at the party, people are bringing some booze and then they say, hey, you guys want to order some pizza. So we're like, yeah, we got $10 each. We have money now. Be at $10 each. Let's order some pizza. We order the pizza, and we're all excited. We're hanging out, and we were the ones that were like organizing all this, organizing the fives. Everyone give me $3. Everyone pulled it together. Paige and John are going to do this, and lo and behold, we're at our house. We're at our friend's house. We open the door, and the pizza delivery man happened to be our father, and we had no idea that he was working pizza.
Holy fuck!
So imagine you see your father with the Pizzaville visor kind of covering half of his face, and you're the one giving the money to your father, not knowing that he works at Pizzaville.
And all it took.
So wait a minute. Let me just. Okay, so go on.
And so all it took was one guy, 5 people back. Was like, hey, isn't that your father? And the even hearing that story again, I haven't even heard it in a while. Like, I can't even put into words the jumble
of emotion
and the shakeup that it caused us.
Like a real jolt is the word.
Well, you would have immediately been alerted to what your father, one, is doing to make sure that he can still provide and support and earn to compensate for some of this other stuff. But then the other side, you've just been accepted into the social circle, and the tear between, I'm sure, those emotions.
Fake and real.
And we had right? managed to very quickly, act on our feet and just play it off like it wasn't our father, but it looked like him or whatever it was. It was
so confusing.
It was so confusing.
So what happened? Like, did you pay for him? Did you take the pizza?
We took the pizza. We paid it.
Kind of like, this is 2 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
Not 3 hours. It's like,
I know, but
it happened and we're like, okay. And then like, I think I kind of pushed back. Like I walked back, I took the pizza and I kind of trying to, blend back in. Party's here, pizza's here.
Yeah.
And I just made like this thing that my dad just
go away.
To go away and
being upset about it, right? Like
being angry at him.
Being angry at him, at the time. Remember, you're 15.
Yeah.
Cool matters. Mm-hmm. Popularity matters. What you're wearing matters. What your shoes are matters. Who you're hanging with matters. If you're drinking matters. If you're partying, it matters.
And back then it was accepted to make remarks about people in low jobs. Like,
of course,
if it's like it was the equivalent of your dad being a janitor. And you know what? Back then, that's all you knew. But if my kid ever made fun of a janitor or something right now, I would be devastated, because those people are some of the hardest working people there are. Right. And all he was doing was just working really hard. But we didn't know that. It was more a matter of our protection of our social economics
and your self-esteem. I mean, this. Look, you're. I don't think any of you operated with sort of intent in that moment. You operated out of survival, which is, what are we going to do to quickly distract and survive and blend back in? And it's hindsight's 2020, and obviously how you think today as parents. And knowing the fact what it takes to be entrepreneurs and run businesses, you could relate back. But at 15, there's no
can't see it
because there's no contrast. There's nothing to compare or understand.
So what do you do here? So what do? We start masking, right? We start pushing further towards social, almost pushing further towards rebelling and pushing the cool button. Trying harder,
shit
to
disturbing,
shit disturbing,
innovating stunts,
causing ruckus, creating noise.
Yeah. And for the podcast, my first experience with you, because we're, by the way,
was it Metro?
Well, I was either at Metro, or I made a joke yesterday. I think it was called like Comfort Zone, where there was this big rumble that was about to happen, and me on the other side. So I have a little bit of a similar story. And my way of being accepted socially was to also create ruckus and to fight. I was this weird South African kid with big feet, right? But I had a heavy punch, and someone one day sort of said, there wasn't these words, but I was socially accepted for being a little bit of a fighter, and that became my brand, which was, how do I do it? So all of a sudden, I just remember there's this big rumble, right? York Mills against Thornhill. Right, we got these two crazy brothers coming down, Gian and Peish. Right, these guys are the craziest, toughest guys you're ever gonna meet.
The brand.
Just now, bluntly, me and my crew were some rough guys, right? Maybe some of the guys that were in my crew were really rough, right? But I'll never forget that moment. That was my first experience. And I remember meeting you guys going, they're not that big. They're not that crazy. And when the fight went down, where are these two guys? They disappeared. But okay.
All right. So you can looking back in retrospect, you can imagine us making noise and rebelling or trying to push further away from what the reality was, because we needed to escape. Yeah. And so with the tint of entrepreneurialism came our next major sequence, which was, at this point, we're 17, and we were popular. We were the twins. Look, we liked to buy nice things because we made our money. We wanted to buy shoes, and we wanted to look cool.
The Twins was a brand of yours.
The Twins we were the Megan Boys. These two twins.
It's also important to know that we had a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
At this time we're working whatever we could.
Yeah, but coming back to from an outside, no one knew that.
No.
Right.
No one knew that you guys were like these insane, hardworking, paper route, behind the scenes, cranking every dollar that you can. Yep. There was just the brand of the Twins.
So these girls were having their high school fashion show, and at the time, at school, I was the worst student. I failed grade 9 math 4 times.
I failed gym.
Failed science. I finished high school in grade 15 and a half, for the record. That's a real number.
Yeah. And I never finished high school. I was so bad.
And I failed summer school. On the last day of summer school, I finished night school twice, failed.
Fuck.
Like, that's a lot of time, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of time to keep failing.
But we made this noise, and we had this reputation that we were these cool party guys. And so at the high school fashion show, they said, we really want Paige and Gian to be part of the fashion show. I think people would come see them. I think people would really like if they were in it. So we'd go to like 3 or 4 of these rehearsals, and we'd have to learn how to like be a model and like, strike a pose and all of this kind of like cool factor. And we kept like treating it like shit. We were like, we don't want to do this.
Just doing wrestling moves on each other.
We were giving each other like stone cold stunners, like while we were walking the runway. Yeah. And the teachers told the girls, you know what, these guys, they're causing too much shit. We don't want them in the fashion show. But the girls were like, no, they're really nice guys. I think people would really like seeing them. They're like, well, in order for them to be in it, we're going to have to give them another job, which would be they'd have to organize the after party.
it was like a punishment that we had to organize the after party, and we were like, well, what do you want us to do? They're like,
what do we need? What do we need to do right now? They're like, well, you need to find a place. You need to get the music. You need to tell people to come. You need to organize all the details for the party, and anything after 300-400 people, you guys can keep the money. We don't really care because the money, we need to make money for the charity, and you guys just have to start doing the work for it, so that you don't have to come to the rehearsals anymore. And the night of the fashion show, you'll just walk down the runway. You'll tell everyone to come to the party. So we were looking at each other. We're like, this is a punishment. We're like, how is this a punishment? We don't understand that this is bad. Like, this is what you do if you don't do well in the fashion show.
So what we ended up doing was, finding a place and getting a DJ and whatnot. But again, we were notorious for going to other schools during the lunch period and just like causing havoc and
guerrillas
picking fights. Or
by definition, you're what guerrilla marketing is called today, before it was ever called guerrilla marketing.
So what we would do is we would go to a school and we'd come looking for someone that we had a problem with. So we'd go to the school, we'd walk in the school, in the middle of school, we'd say, "Where's Greg Witz? Have you seen Greg Witz?" We'd walk out to people and be like, "No." And then next thing you know, within a matter of moments, the word was getting out that there was these 2 Iranian kids with a posse coming to look for Greg. And we would stand in front of as many people as we could and be like, "You let Greg Witz know that we're here waiting for him outside and he better show up." The old-fashioned meet me in the parking lot vibe. And back then, you could smoke on school property. School was a very, dazed and confused place. And slowly but surely, the crowd would grow and grow and grow. And then the principal would show up and be like, "What's going on here? There better not be any fighting." And, in front of everyone, we'd tell the principal to fuck off. And everyone would be like, "Oh my God, they just told the holy shit." Because
who are these guys?
Because
guys, I remember these moments, man.
Because we weren't scared. We knew that we couldn't get in trouble
on our lunch break
or after school to tell someone to fuck off because it wasn't our principal. And we had the chutzpah to do that. And the people
we
were
had
like,
each other, right?
And people were like, "Oh my God." And then next thing you know, Greg Witz shows up. And we're like, "Oh, Greg Witz, you finally have the balls to show up." And everyone's like, "Oh my God," the people are starting to be like, "Oh, I got money on this. I got money on this." And right when I'm about to knock Greg Witz into the next year, I'd go into my jacket and me, Paige, and Greg Witz would go and give flyers to everyone for the party.
So everyone, we would make it seem like
there was a major, rumble.
But Greg was in on it because we knew him from the scene.
We had a guy at every school.
There's the wrestling.
Right.
Yes, so we would promote it. We would create this hype and this anticipation and this cliffhanger moment, and then it would drop into this bigger moment. And the payoff was, come see a Friday night. This is the best. If you had fun just now, the party's going to be even crazier.
Well, we would do that, and we'd actually do that in classrooms. I'd walk into a classroom of a different school, and I'd take the flyers and I'd throw them in the air and walk out and not care. Because it wasn't the school that I went to. So we would do whatever we could to make noise. Bathrooms, the stalls, the staircases, people walking in, putting the flyers on the cars.
Sticking posters onto people's backs and have them walk around without knowing it, right? So it was so organic.
Kick me sign.
Yeah, the old kick me sign.
So that night of the fashion show, they allowed us to get on the mic, and we would be like, "Come to the after party. It's going to be amazing. Paige and Gian are hosting it." And we had no idea what to expect.
But our one scene was us on the mic getting on there. But for whatever reason, I told Paige, before, because we were up about 5 feet on the runway, and the whole auditorium was packed, and I had planted a table in front of the T. And at the end of the thing, I'm like, "If you think it's going to be great, okay, you're not going to want to miss this." And then Paige kicked me in the gut and threw me off the stage, and I crashed through the table.
The first wrestling moment.
And people were like, "Holy cow." It's like it totally overshadowed the entire fashion show. But the legend has it, that night came, the fashion show ends, we race to the building, we get everything set, everyone's ready, and people are coming. And more people are coming, and what was supposed to be a few hundred people ended up being over 1,700 people.
Wow.
And cops busted the party by 11 o'clock at night. The party was shut down. It was Project X before Project X ever happened. And that night,
This was the birth of
Megan Boys.
the Megan Boys.
Yeah.
Well, throwing those parties and like if we're going to talk about it out loud, it's past tense. You know, at the time, our parents were on welfare.
Yeah.
Right, we're living in an apartment. Parents don't have a job, struggling to get through the month to month.
Yeah, working at Pizza as delivery.
Delivering pizza, all of that. We walked home that night, I think with like $9,000 at like 16 or 17 years old. 9,000 cash dollars.
It was unbelievable the amount of money that came through. And
Like think about and we're delivering the paper,
Poor kids, poor immigrant children.
and it was a
this
matter
is
of
your
like,
first-
it was
your
almost like in Coming to America, you know, when Eddie Murphy gives those two homeless guys the cash.
Brewster's Millions. I know.
And they're like Randolph,
Mortimer.
we're back in business. And we were like, and literally for the next 4 years of our lives, we didn't care what it was. Valentine's Day, Halloween, Bob Marley's birthday.
Bob Marley's birthday.
Bob Marley's wife's birthday. It didn't matter.
But Bob Marley's birthday at the Comfort Zone.
Yeah.
Okay. I went and made a flyer with Bob Marley on it. It was the day of his birthday. I made a poster that said, "Come celebrate Bob Marley's birthday." So everyone of these, you know, was thinking it was like this big thing. I literally went to HMV and bought Bob Marley's Greatest Hits. Remember that one with "No Woman, No Cry"?
Yeah.
That you used to hear?
Yeah, the
Jamming,
legend.
The legend.
Yeah.
I bought that CD, put it on repeat at the place. That's all I did. Okay. We had 700 people come to that party.
$20,
Okay.
$15 in advance. Or,
Whatever we could do to make the noise and follow the marketing, wrestling, sensationalizing thing. Now, at this time, we're way ahead of ourselves, right? Because even though it seemed like it's only a little bit of time, but for 5 or 6 years, we had nothing. And so we were in a rush to buy shoes and not small Doritos, but big bag of Doritos.
Yeah, new
Gatorade.
money.
We could buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to do whatever normal people could do. So we had the ability to pay and play cool. We were these guys that threw these wicked parties that everyone wanted to be a part of. And now we were on the back end taking all of that money and putting it towards our family's life and supporting the house.
I remember when we were like 19 or 20, our father was like crazy behind on his visa. Like, I don't even know what it was.
It was a sad number.
And for whatever it was, like he didn't understand and he didn't get it. And Paige, you would call the visa, and I remember like somehow, some way, you negotiated the debt, and you got it down like significantly.
Yeah.
And we paid off his visa. We paid off certain debts, and then next thing you know, like we're starting to do these parties. What was once a month, then it was twice a month, and now we started doing it every
Once a
single
week.
week. And we were in a race to find new venues because we started knowing what the things would fizzle after a certain amount of time, and then we started doing it Friday, Saturday, and then if it was a long weekend, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we made a lot of money.
Well, we made a lot of money, we made a lot of noise, and we built a reputation of a brand that were associated with cool, crazy, fun, wild. But we're still we're children. We're 17, 18 years old. We're getting a little ahead, but we're 17, 18 years old. And at this time, wrestling was making a comeback. And it was right early, like NWO. Remember, like Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, when he became the heel.
The bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy.
So at the time, we're taking the bus. We didn't have a car. We couldn't have it. We're taking the bus, and we're at a bus stop. We're taking the bus, and at the bus stop it says live wrestling in Scarborough. Abdullah the Butcher versus the Iron Sheik. And we're like, what the fuck is this? At this place. And at the time we're like, wrestling, if it's not at the Sky Dome, it's not, there's no such thing.
It's not WWF.
Well, there's no such thing as wrestling.
We didn't know anything outside
Of what was on TV.
of what was on TV.
And again, TV is still TV.
Yeah.
Right? So we were like, what the hell is this? We ripped off the flyer, and we said, we have to go to this thing.
Go home to our dad.
We go to our dad. We go, Dad, look at this. The Sheik's
Remember the Sheik? Now it's been like 10 years. We hadn't seen the Sheik. We kind of like, we didn't say we forgot about them, but it was like wrestling had it in its own way, had its own downfall.
Steroids.
And the steroids and the Hulk Hogan went out.
Scandal.
And wrestling wasn't cool anymore. But slowly it was having its own resurgence.
Which again, we'll get into maybe a little later, the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Remember the word nostalgia with us.
Yeah.
So we're like, do you think he's going to remember us? You know, if I haven't seen you for 10 years, do you think you remember me? Like we were just talking about someone and we said, do you remember that guy? Well, you remember these things. Especially you're a childhood hero. Guys, you know, so we go to, with a couple of our buddies who had a car, we go to Scarborough, we all pay to get in. We go to a place that's literally smaller than a bedroom. Like literally it's where we thought there was gonna be 5,000-10,000 people here, there was not 90 people in a place where you couldn't even go off the top rope because the ceiling was that low. You can only go off the second rope to see the Iron Sheik and Abdul the Butcher, two world famous wrestlers wrestling each other. And the Iron Sheik came out old, waddling into the ring. It was a fast match. He was bleeding. And we were like, what the hell is going on here? This is sad. What is this? We were blown away, but yet we were mesmerized that there was something out there that was more than what we saw on TV. And after the show, we walk over to the curtain. We said, we'd like to speak to the Iron Sheik. And we said, do you remember us? You know, Paige and Gian, our dad is Bijan. He starts crying. He's like, do I remember you? You're a little baby boy. Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, please, where's your daddy? Daddy, please. Here's my phone number. Please call me. And we're like freaking out, starstruck, and mind blown that A, he remembered us. B, this wrestling show is going on in which we said, how is there only 90 people to see the Iron Sheik and this guy wrestle each other? I go, I can wrestle you and have more people come see us.
On a Friday night, we were drawing 400 or 500 people to one of our parties, and we were on the flyer as the host or whatnot.
Yeah, because you guys these were the wrestling parties that you guys were doing?
Just in general.
We were just a general party, yeah.
But we said, if there's only 90 people here, like how many people could we get to come see each other?
Yeah.
So that's where our head went, not into what's going on here, but like how we could do what we just saw, but better.
Yeah, it was no fear. We're like, we can bring more people than 90 people to watch me beat the shit out of my brother. Like no questions about it. So what did we do? Right after we saw the Sheik, we got his number. We went to the lady we saw someone start unraveling the ring, tearing it down. We said, what's your number? Can we call you? We asked a couple of wrestlers. We asked this one lady who saw us and started sniffing around us. And we're like, you boys, you need any help with what you want to do, you let me know. So we're like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ring Lady.
Ring Lady, thank you so much. So what happened was we're still on the hustle, and now we're hooked on wrestling. Wrestling is huge.
Back in our heads.
Yeah. So if anyone knows you guys, they know how important wrestling is for you. Like, I mean, you think of
whether we like it or not.
Gian and Paige, like you think of wrestling as the next thing that comes out of your mouth.
It's funny because I don't know if you knew, we didn't even realize until even talking to you right now, maybe how this became. There's a real deep emotional meaning to these things that I'm sure you're even surprised about.
Yeah.
So this
is our first podcast.
Yeah, this is the first time we're ever speaking like this.
Thrilled to be part of your journey, boys.
Yeah, thank you. So wrestling is huge, and now we're hooked.
Yeah. And
everything we do with wrestling is cool. It's NWO. It's this and that.
DX.
And so there's a wrestling show. There's a wrestling show in Hamilton that is sold out with WWE. At the time, it's about to blow up, and we don't have tickets, but we want to go. And we said to everybody, let's just go. And lo and behold, you want to say the story?
Well, it's just exciting. It's a great story.
So lo and behold, we are going to this wrestling show. Now we've got money in our pockets, but we don't have tickets. But the old us is kicking in. It's a sold out show. What do? We try sneaking in. At the time, we just started dabbling a little bit into the DJ world. People knew of us from the popularity cool world.
Yeah.
And these two kids are like, hey, is that Paige and Gian? We're like, yeah. He's like, are you guys going into the show? We're like, well, we're trying to get in. He's like, well, our mom just dropped us off. These kids were like 11 and 13 at the time. He's like, our mom's wanted to drop us off. We're like, well, just come with us, bud. We find a way to get into Cops Coliseum without paying for a ticket. And we sneak into the arena with two of us, a friend, and these two kids. And now we're sitting there.
But yeah, and I need you to understand something. If there was something that could be like a pre,
Cursor?
there's no. This is about to sound like the biggest lie you ever heard.
Right.
Okay.
This is about to say, like, the things that have happened to us are fictional when you hear them from our mouths.
But this what story that he's going to tell you is like it should be considered a lie.
So we just snuck into this building, okay? Where the main event is Undertaker, Kane, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, 20,000 people. We just snuck in. We're pacing and we're walking around.
We don't have seats, right?
We don't have seats. It's sold out. We don't even have seats, but we snuck in. Security guard goes, "You three, come with me." We're like,
And the kids.
and the kids. We're like,
Oh shit.
we're going to jail.
And the mother put her faith in us, and we were like, "Oh my God, what's happening? This is so crazy."
We're freaking out.
And he takes us for this walk.
He takes us around the building, and we're thinking like, should we just run on this guy right now? What should we do? We're freaking out. Should we just take off? And then he takes us to the middle section of the building, up at the top of the ramp. So we're seeing 12 o'clock view of the ring, and we're sitting down we're sitting down in the aisle on the ramp, and he goes, "You guys are going to do me a favor. You see those guys in the ring sitting ringside?" We're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, when their match is over, I need you guys to sit in those seats because we need someone to make sure it looks good on TV."
Seat fillers.
Seat fillers. Yeah, they
Meaning-
do it at the Oscars. They do
Meaning
it
that they could never have an exposed seat
Because it would look bad on television.
Exactly. So you need bodies in those seats when people go to the bathroom, when they leave, or they change.
And so what ended up happening was the guy who was sitting with us was like he ran the whole production of the WWF.
He was the head of security and of the production of the WWF at the time. So what ended up happening was that match was supposed to happen next ended up going on like 5 matches later. So me and him and my brother were sitting and we were just telling him our story.
But remember, no one got up out of those seats
Yeah.
that he was anticipating. So this guy is thinking that he's been holding us up for the whole show. Meanwhile, doesn't realize that he just kind of gifted us a position to sit in the arena.
But what he did say though is like, "You guys will do this for me, and in return, I'll get you guys maybe some autographs after the show, and maybe I'll get you some tickets for the next time we come to town." We're like, "What the fuck is this? A punishment? Like, what is this?"
This is amazing.
This is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. So we started picking his brain. We're like, "Well, we've always wanted to run our own show. And we always wanted to work with guys because our dad's best friend's the Iron Sheik." Is like, "Oh, Iron Sheik is a little old, isn't he?" We're like, "Well, we don't know who else to get. Like, we can get him because he's connected with us, and he would probably do us a favor." He goes, "Well, why would you get any of those old guys when I can get you some of the new guys?" We're like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, some of these guys, they live around here. I can get you some of these guys from the WWF." We're like, "What?" We were like, "Yeah, you take my number down. I'll give you a Jim Cornette's number." Jim Cornette was the head of talent relations at the time, who was a big deal on television. So he took such a liking in us and was so personable with us that for the main event, he goes, "Why don't you guys come with me?" The kids had to leave because the mom was ready to take them home.
Yeah.
So it was me, my brother, and I, and our friend were the only ones. The kids had to go. He's like, "Why don't you guys come with me, and I'll bring you backstage for the last match." And at this time, wrestling's we're not sure. We don't know anything about lights and TV and cameras or anything. But we're walking backstage, and all of a sudden, there's all these cameras, and there's a few TV monitors, and every single wrestler in the world was sitting watching the show with us on live on
The
screen.
Rock, Mick Foley, the Hardy Boys,
Owen Hart.
Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
Like all the roster was watching the show on this thing. But what ended up happening was the last match ended up spilling the match and the action spilled backstage. But here's the cameras here, but right over here,
Like literally 6 feet from us.
they were brawling and everyone's watching this.
And the end of the match, there was a ramp to go outside from in the backstage area. Vince McMahon comes, grabs the belt, gets into a limo, and drives up the ramp. And at the end of it, Stone Cold starts chasing the limo. And we're all just watching, and we're literally watching it on television, and then they open the curtain, and they're filming it backstage, and our heads are fucking exploding at this time. Like, exploding is not even the word. And all of a sudden, we see Stone Cold run up and chase the car, and then the screen goes black, and they're like, "And that's a wrap!" Stop car, everyone gets out, they start hugging, everyone starts high-fiving, everyone starts talking to each other. We're like, what the fuck?
You're like, holy shit, we've just seen behind the curtain.
It was remarkable.
What did we just see, man? This is, again, if you want to look at retrospect, we grew up backstage. We thought it was real. Now we're seeing it at a more mature brain.
You're seeing the business side of it.
The business side of it.
The scripting and the process and the
We
execution.
use the promotional tactics and the hype and the guerrilla marketing and the way we produce our events as a part of it. And so this was like a big full circle of how wrestling was a part of our lives.
Listen, I gotta tell you, like, out of all the podcasts, I don't think I've ever been this quiet throughout any interview. So, I mean, your story is fascinating, and besides just being like one of those stories which you think is like, no way this could be real.
Right. So
I mean, I listen to you guys talk, and I say, fuck, here are two guys that if you didn't go through the stress that you've gone through in life, the social stress, the economical stress, the emotional stress, you might have not pushed to do some of the things that you've done. But that's not the sort of exciting part of the story. The exciting part of the story is, how you have seized opportunity, how you have not just been in the right place at the right time, but, made moves and decisions through those opportunities. And maybe in some cases, not even realizing the decision that you've made at the time, but just at an instinctive gut entrepreneurial level saying, this is what we've got to do. And again, part of that was being the need to be socially accepted, the need to give back and support your family, the need to be successful yourself. Fuck, man, this isn't just a story around entrepreneurship. This is a story around perseverance after, getting knocked and knocked and knocked, and what we call ruptures, having these rupture moments. Which, what do we do with this? And there's this whole world now that that you see people talking about anxiety and depression. We just did the last podcast on it, and the guy, his name is Steven, that we were interviewing, said, I think we live in this world of people not wanting to feel anything. So we want everything to be easy. Everything should be now. Everything should be instant. And the problem with this is people think that, when they are running up against these things or they're feeling resistance, that it's okay to be depressed or sad or go through anxiety. But it's that exact sort of pinch or stress that gives you the perseverance.
You got to fail, man.
You got to fucking fail.
You got to fail, and you got to feel it.
Yeah.
You got to feel the burn. You got to be able to go through the fire, and you need to feel and remember that you've got scars, because, feeling things is going to allow you to navigate through situations. And, the greatest gift we were ever given from our parents, technically, was the gift of nothing. The gift of, you have no choice, but you have to go out there. And so the blessing of us being twins, I can feel, he can feel. That's 200% feels. And we're out there trying, and we can make failures, because if I failed and he succeeded, well, we're up,
So how do you think this has affected you as parents today? I mean, both of you are young parents. You got young kids, all the way from, call it a baby, to
10 years old.
10 years old, right? How do you think this reflects in your parenting today?
I mean, I try deeply to make everything matter. Every lesson isn't, a Bob Saget Full House moment where I'm on the side of the bed and saying, Billy, next time. It's got to be, you got to try to sell importance to everything that you say, from whether it's sharing, whether it's hitting, whether it's pouring too much milk on the cereal, to whether it's putting your shoes up on time so that you're not late for school, to brushing your teeth because your teeth are gonna look like butter, to whatever.
Y'all got butter teeth.
Everything matters.
Yeah.
And I always tell my kids, you're not supposed. My son was playing hockey. He was really bad at hockey. Yeah. But he's supposed to be bad at hockey. Yeah. He didn't try. He didn't know how to be.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem with kids today. Is there's this expectation that, okay, I put on skates, I put on a thing, I should be able to play.
Well, so again, God bless everyone, because everyone's got their own version of this. But we didn't. I'm not putting my kid into 5 days a week into programming him for hockey. Okay, I'm gonna let him try. I'm gonna let him see how he does it on his own. And he wasn't the best player on the team. There's other kids that are. Why are they better than my son? Because they're on 5-6 days a week. He's on 3 days a week, right? So you have to be better at anything you do if you're doing it 6 days a week. Do you agree?
Agreed.
So,
But sometimes that comes from the pressure of the parent and not the child. And, we talk a lot about this, which is over-programming your kid. The joke about if you haven't put your 3-year-old in dance, theater, hockey, basketball, baseball, gymnastics,
Mahjong.
swimming, right? Mahjong, bridge. You're behind. And then in some other cases, that kid grows up to be 8 years old. And yes, they haven't had 6 days of hockey. So
very easy to be affected by it.
Yeah.
And so with my son, I didn't push it too hard. And again, we couldn't afford to do it either. So I don't have a reference point where I was skating. So it's going to be, in the family, lineage for him to do it. Lo and behold, we had a hockey tournament on the weekend, and we were playing teams from like Port Credit, outside of Toronto. These teams, 15-0, 17-0. All of a sudden, all these other kids that were great were equal to my son because they were playing these monsters that were playing literally 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I was so proud because we scored our first goal in the third game of our tournament. And it was my son who scored.
Amazing.
I mean, and it was not because of the overpowering or the overprogramming. It was because I told him to care deeply. I told him to put his heart into it and try his best. And you know what? Let's try to remember that they're 7 years old. Let's try to not be affected in the moment of what the expectation and goal is.
Yeah.
And I think that the one emotion that I try to put into them is to care. I mean, and I say, get your work done, then have fun. So get your work done, and then you can ask me for a Nintendo Switch, or then you can ask me, have control of the narrative. I tell my kids. But when you don't do what I need you to do, well, then you're not going to get the reward of that, or you're not going to be able to feel pride in what you do. So get the work done, then you can have control. And so for us, we had the hustle because we had to work. We had to work. And so because we had to work, we got gratification, we got paid, we made money, we succeeded. And then I can buy that big bag of Doritos, or he can buy this peach sweatshirt. We had the choice. We can do that. And that's a gift right there.
My mother taught me a long time ago. She says, if you want independence, make your own money. She said the day you start making your own money is the day people can't tell you shit. Make whatever decision you want, do whatever you want once you make your own money.
Well, we learned that early, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough because, we come from the scenario where we had to earn it ourselves. We were showered with love, but not necessarily with money. And, we grew up in a society where, some people have the money, but they don't have the love, or they have the love, but they don't have the money. And, there's so many different factors in what it is. And I have to be honest and true with what my scenario is. We both have done well, and we've grown up, and we've saved, and we keep earning, and we keep doing well. But I don't necessarily like to give my kids everything that they want just because I can do it, and that's something that I struggle with. But
in fact, we were talking about that yesterday, where you said, hey, I'm going to be able to pay for university, no problem, but I'm not going to.
I'm going to give them I'm going to put them in the line of fire where they're going to have to earn themselves, and they're going to have to go into debt themselves, and they're going to have to crawl out of it, because that's more important than what they're going to learn in their 3-4 years of school.
For sure. In order for you to taste sweet, you got to taste sour.
Yeah.
You got to know if your mouth is dry. You need to know how it makes it, how the water makes it wet. Like you gotta have those bad minutes.
Yeah.
If you have to fabricate them, okay, because we don't have the same real circumstances anymore. I think people struggle with that. Those who are successful, because they want their kids to kind of live and breathe in some level of, experiential of trying.
Yep.
I'm living and dying by the cliches right now. Work hard, play hard.
Yep.
Play with fire, you're going to get burned.
Yep.
All those things.
Natural consequences.
Everyone's looking for the furthest, longest way. Well, the one that's right in front of you is the one that's going to get you the furthest. And I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect in today's society. Everyone's, looking for something that can exist if you just allow the basic fundamentals to kick in. Hard work, be a good person, do your best. You've heard it all before, but like for some people, like those words are like eye roll, but it's not. It's actually, that's the secret. we're talking about two special ed students who had to make, something which was technically a lot from absolutely nothing, from minus nothing. And
let me ask you this: do you think you would have had this amount of success professionally if you didn't? Let's say have that moment where you ordered a pizza and your father showed up at the door and he was the delivery guy.
No way. It would have been average at best. We didn't know.
Yeah. So what advice would you give people when it comes down to, let's make it generic, going through life? I mean, how important is it to go through the stress and the obstacles?
Well, you've heard it all before on podcasts, on business seminars. Everyone's saying a lot of the same thing, but why are they saying those same things? It's nothing new. Nothing is a eureka thing. Anything that's worthwhile in life is something that you're going to have to work hard for. There is no great microwave dinner, right? Nothing can just get zapped. The things that are worth it in life are going to come slow and steady, and they're going to come through trial and tribulation. So you got to put yourself out there, and you have to recognize that like failing is succeeding, because failing is really not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's paralyzing yourself.
Yeah, when you have no choice and you guys got to move the pylons forward, however you do that, the experiences there allow you to survive and have retrospect to shape you a little bit. And when you care, when you put effort in, something has to happen. I don't care what your measuring stick is. Just put time in, put effort in, and you will see results. And I think that we've tried our best to always try and always care. And those are just two simple verbs: try and care. Is there rocket science behind trying and caring? No, but
Asking,
doing, it's a simple verb.
if I can get
It's a simple formula, which a lot of people want to complicate.
Well, when I went to college, I went to business school. I said I could call it a business class, and everyone walked around. They said, why are you in this class? Someone was like, well, I want to learn how to do accounting, and I want to learn how to, create a business plan. And then when it was my turn, I said, I want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And people laugh because the teacher was like, that's exactly right. You want to be successful. You want to be able to succeed and do things that you can do and make your own decisions. And, it's a simple verb. We're just trying to do our best. Yeah. And I think if you do that, and if you work hard and you're honest and you care and you put effort in, well, the money has to come. It's not like if I thought about the money first, I don't think I think I'd be successful. But we had this ability to always do these other things well, and then there's the reward to that. And
I think that's great advice for call it the entrepreneurs today, which is everyone is looking for the thing to be an entrepreneur to. Instead of going, hey, this is what I do, or this is what my natural skill is, or this is what I can offer, and naturally progressing into a business. Yeah. It's like everyone wants that answer. So give me the blueprint. So let me come up with the idea, the product or the service. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a business. I'm going to, create a social account. And I'm going to get a website and I'm going to start selling it. I'm going to be an entrepreneur versus, what I heard you guys talk a lot about was, not that you were groomed into being an entrepreneur, but life sort of presented a number of moments to you, and it was the decisions that you made throughout the lifetime or throughout those moments that projected you or helped you propel into the successful business owners that you are today. You didn't wake up saying one day we're going to run a huge, super successful events and production company. You said, holy shit, people want to listen to us. And we're just good at getting people in a room, and hey, we could do that music thing and the wrestling thing, and boom, 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 boom. And it naturally progressed into what it is today.
We still don't feel like we're successful. We still don't know what we're going to be doing with our lives.
Yeah, which I think is the definition of why you guys are successful. We had this conversation yesterday, which is you guys haven't even begun. You're just getting started.
Yeah.
God willing, but we don't feel
there's no cruising.
Yeah. Our foot is on the gas. We're always be moving. We're moving and grooving 25/8.
Yeah. And I think it's because, we had that head start in life being, entrepreneurs from a young age that allowed us to get through the confusion. And it's tough when I talk to people who are asking me for advice or people coming to me for a job.
Yeah.
You know, entrepreneurship is one giant, contradiction.
Experiment in some capacity.
Yeah, there's no right and there's no wrong. It's just keep on trial and error, keep on moving forward. And people are always coming in with this like,
It has to be successful now.
yeah, this rigidness,
Instant.
and they're staying within the lines, but they don't realize like the line is not supposed to be straight. It's supposed to be completely entangled, and it's like the biggest maze ever because here we are. Going in on 20 years in the game right now.
20 years as a business, hustling, working since we were 14. So 25 plus years working full time.
Now I can honestly say there's real issues. There's industries that are changing in front of, blockbuster videoing right in front of our eyes in our own world and other worlds and
evolution
and evolution and time and the speed of rapid technology changing, and us, instead of being like, scared for our lives, like we need to start to get ready for a tornado.
We're looking what's behind that door. We love what's behind that door. What's behind that door is thrilling to us. And but thrilling is normal. Being in this crazy situation of uncertainty is normal for us.
Yeah.
Because we know that in
Do you
the
think
end,
that's part of being an entrepreneur, is being able to live with uncertainty?
yeah, well, you live with it, but like you also you've learned how to swim in that
Shark infested
sharks,
waters.
yeah.
in those waters, and now you're not scared to get bitten. You realize that sometimes getting bitten on one arm makes your other arm stronger, and it allows for whatever's happening on that side to grow. And all of our growth in business came from some of the biggest setbacks and biggest blunders we ever made, and I now recognize that more and more. I can't be super hard on myself. I have to just let nature take its course and continue to be a good person, and continue to do my best and help others. Like that to me is my favorite part of being an entrepreneur right now.
Helping others is a very unique thing. I'll take any phone call. I'll speak to any kid, any grown up, any 80-year-old, any 8-year-old. I will absorb what they're saying to me so I can be able to understand youth and people older, younger, and whatnot. And I learned something from one of my clients who's 75 years old. And he said, what's a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, and 77 guy have in common? And I said, what? And he's like, they all want to feel cool. I said, think about it. I want to feel cool right now. I want to feel cool when I was my 7, when my son has these new Kyrie Irving shoes. And the 70-year-old, I guess, wants to feel cool when he's down south in Florida playing golf or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And what I learned about people is that everyone's got their own trajectory. If you're an entrepreneur, and you want to succeed, like you don't know when that person's going to hit. Where are they? Do they hit? Have they hit bottom? Have they hit their top? Have they peaked? Wherever that is. And we've now kept our eyes on people for a long enough time to see some people just starting to hit now, or been trying long ago and it took a minute, and so on and so forth. And so we can look anyone in the eyes in the city and then realize that we have a relationship. And I was good to you when you weren't peaking, or when you were here or here. And the currency to how we made people feel because of our abilities to host and produce great events and have fun and throw parties and put on these shows has now created a relationship of nostalgia, which we spoke about before. Where were you when I was in my best days in high school or college or university at Paige and Gion's parties? Or when I was at my friend's wedding, was the best night of his life.
Yeah, you guys did my wedding, right? It was a wicked wedding, probably the best that year.
I did do it, not him.
You did it, yes.
But think about that feeling, that intangible feeling that we're now a part of your best days, and you've associated us with those best days.
Yeah, that emotional currency is huge.
And we live that currency, deeply live that currency.
And we're lucky.
Well, we talk a lot about what's something called the relationship economy. That says if you want to be successful in business in today's world, it's about the investment that you put into relationships. Not fake and surface, but being willing to go the next 18 months with you in giving and supporting and picking up the phone call and getting together and stretching yourself and, showing up in that relationship without any ask. And if you could do that well, not from a place of manipulation, but from a place, and not from a place of technique, but because you think this way, you have a mindset of saying, you know what, I am going to water the garden, nurture these relationships. Some might bear fruit, some might not, but I'm going to stay consistent, and I'm going to stay authentic to who I am.
Right.
Exactly.
I should end up with opportunity for relationships in the future. And this, you guys, by definition, are the example of what living the relationship economy is like. Not over 18 months, but over 25 fucking years.
Well, what's the one thing that you get? You go to a wedding. Mm-hmm. What are you taking home with you that night? If you're a guest, what do you get?
Hopefully a bridesmaid.
Yeah. People are gonna. I've had people say that. I've had people say, like a free meal.
A memory.
They get a feeling. Mm-hmm. All you get is a feeling.
Yeah.
All we're gonna get today is how I made you feel, how he made me feel, and how people hopefully that are watching this, how they feel after they've watched this. Mm-hmm. I see all these lectures in tech conferences and all these places, and they're fucking boring, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to say, how we make people feel is the most important part of that process. Mm-hmm. And by allowing us to deeply connect with people on such a fragile night, again, this is someone's wedding, someone's bar mitzvah, someone's corporate event, we've been sensitized to throwing parties and doing events where all we know is how to make people feel.
Yeah, you sell emotion.
We sell emotion, and we don't ever care about anything other than how people feel. Mm-hmm. And that allows us to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is that not everyone has the luxury that the two of us have with their business. They may be an accountant, and that may not feel as good as throwing someone an event.
Yeah, but I might argue the accountant has more of a responsibility to look after their clients' feelings, which is the security and feeling safe.
Sure.
Right? But okay, let's go.
But not everyone has like the high five, fist bump job that the Megan brothers do. And I recognize that. And what I'm really recognizing is the fact that like I'm not here to sit here and read off my accolades and tell you my story so I can feel good. I really want to do it, as you said, with the word authentically, give back and maybe inspire one person. And so all I care about is at the end of the day, if any one person is listening to this and they like the story, I'm happy to say I will do whatever I can to help that person any way I can. And that's coming from a place of, being grateful and being, just happy that I'm like not a lot of people have found my career path, and that's bringing happiness, bringing joy and positivity to the world. From an authentic place.
I think it's going to be, to your point, very exciting to see what you guys accomplish over the next 20 years. I think you'll still have enough energy at the end of 20 years to do a whole nother career after that. I mean, here's the joke. We're in our 40s, early 40s, and we've got a long life to live, and there's a lot of shit to fucking do, and just getting started, right? Yeah. Man, listen, I got, G and Paige, like I said, and for the audience, we've known each other since we were 15 years old. Different crews in some regards, crossover in crews. We live in the same neighborhood. But you have completely changed my perspective, or we'll call it perception is a better word, of who you two are. And don't get me wrong, it's all you. I'm complimentary in saying that. I think you're amazing entrepreneurs. I think the stuff that you do is fantastic. But the story of trials and tribulations in order to get to where you are, the story of being so moved by making sure that you could give back and look after your dad and put back into the family. The story is also your parents are successful today. I mean, we've come out of that time. We've survived. The story of the fact that, you're very very precise in how you want your kids growing up with the value of money, which I think is important. Let me just sort of flip gears for a second here. So talk to me a little bit about leadership. I mean, what are some best practices as leaders? You guys run a company, thoughts, not technique, but thoughts about, what's important to incorporate as leaders.
Yeah, like for me, when I work with people, like, I don't ever want to be telling them what to do. I don't ever want to be, be put in a situation where I'm throwing someone into a fire that I don't think they're going to be coming out of alive, or thriving. I always like to challenge my staff and my coworkers, but I also am smart enough to recognize what their strengths are, and I think a good leader is one that considers the person that they're working with and is able to scan them and analyze what they're bringing to the table. And by doing so, that's how you get a good friendship out of it, a trust factor, and a real maximization of that person's skill sets. Whether they even know that they have that skill set or not, a leader is able to forecast their abilities.
Let's flip into partnership. You guys are brothers, so there's an automatic sort of partnership. But, what do you think it takes to be a successful partner? How do you think you need to show up?
I think you got to be all in, first of all. And I think that when you got two people, you shouldn't have two people doing the exact same thing. So if I'm RoboCop and I want to build RoboCop, I'm the upper, he's the lower part of the body or whatever that is to make RoboCop. And thinking as partners, he's really great at things that I'm horrible at. Like I couldn't even try to do anything that he does. And I think I bring certain things to the table that he may not be able to do as efficiently. So when you can recognize who can do what, and you can divide those lines, and you can lead by example. And then I like the humility part of it. I didn't talk about this, but I like to make people smile. And I like to, show people that I'm, human. And that I can, make mistakes or do things so that they feel like the guard is a little lower while maintaining a real high quality product in anything we do. And with that goes back to my biggest verb of caring deeply, and if we all care deeply in whatever part of the skill set that we can provide, I don't care what you do, it has to be good. So we define those lines, and we can split the sea and do what we know is what we do best.
You guys are inspiring. I felt, when we're sitting down and talk about sort of what we're going to cover off today, we're going to talk about sort of entrepreneurship and partnership and running a business and what it takes to sort of, deal from a leadership standpoint with, such a big sort of outfit that you have, company. But I think this is very much a story around inspiration and perseverance. So first, thank you so much for fucking sharing the story. It's been amazing. Two, I know you guys got to go. Otherwise, I'd keep you here for another 2 hours. But I think we absolutely have to have you guys come back because there's part 2 to this, which let's go deeper with relationships and leadership and entrepreneurship and humility and authenticity and connection and relationship. Because that's the other side that I heard you talk a lot about, which is the importance of, cherishing relationships and showing up in a very specific way, even though you might have pushback and defeat and stress, the importance of staying secure and strong during that. So, gentlemen, you guys are awesome. Any closing thoughts you want to leave the audience with?
Just, thanks for thinking our story's worthwhile to tell. And, for anyone out there who's just trying to get through the day or struggling with where their career is going, take it one day at a time, work hard, do with integrity, do with the full heart, and just be honest with yourself. And those things will lead you.
Amazing. And of course, we're going to connect in your charity. It's called the Amani Children's Center in Tanzania. Also, the group or the program that you're going down with, which is Glasgow Global. We'll add all this stuff in so people can connect. We'll get you guys connected as well. But Paige, any final thoughts?
Yeah, again, just like what Gian said, thank you just for having us. We're humbled by even being considered. Truthfully, we just love that we can even broadcast our voices. And if this can help anyone, I get full pleasure out of it. Struggle is real, man. You gotta taste sweet to taste sour and know what good is by knowing what bad is sometimes, and just keep trying and keep pushing forward, moving those pylons, man.
Look, I think part 2, we want to learn a little bit of your secret sauce, because most people that have had as many knocks as you two have might not have gotten back up and might not have continued pushing. So we live in this world of like resilience today. And by definition, if I think we want to see what resilience is, it's your story. So thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk to you guys soon. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome.